Have you ever looked up at the vast Arkansas sky and seen a truly majestic creature effortlessly riding the thermals, a powerful symbol of freedom etched against the clouds?
Maybe over the tranquil waters of the Ouachita River, or
Hmm.
perhaps those expansive wetlands of Felsenthal.
Exactly. Today, we are taking a deep dive into one of America's most iconic birds, specifically through the unique lens of Ashley County, Arkansas.
hmm
You recently reached out to us with a fantastic set of questions, really eager to unpack everything about the eagles you see soaring over your home in Ashley County.
Right.
You wanted to understand their biology, their ecology, the whole who, what, when, where, and why of these incredible raptors.
Yeah, the full picture.
And you also wondered if there are other types of eagles besides the bald eagle that might frequent your skies. Plus, if these magnificent birds have needed repopulation efforts, much like the successful programs for bears and deer in the state.
That's a great comparison, actually.
And of course, you brought up that intriguing connection to the CrossFit high school mascot, the Eagles, and a fascinating question about a Native American site you mentioned as Big Mind Ridge.
Right, Big Mind Ridge. We'll definitely get into that. Our mission today is precisely that, to explore how this remarkable bird, which is an emblem of a nation, lives and thrives specifically in your local environment down there.
Okay.
We'll connect the grand national story of the bald eagle to the very specific rhythms of life in southern Arkansas.
And hopefully uncover some surprising facts along the way.
Oh, definitely. We'll delve into the deep conservation journey this bird has undertaken and touch upon the profound cultural roots this powerful creature holds, both in the distant past and, right now.
All right, let's unpack this incredible story from national symbol to local resident. And here's where it gets really interesting right from the start.
Okay.
The bald eagle, our undisputed national emblem, wasn't just some quick, easy choice for the fledgling United States.
No, not at all.
The process of selecting it was actually quite contentious and drawn out, involving years of debate, multiple committees, some fascinating back and forth arguments before this particular eagle finally landed squarely at the heart of the Great Seal.
That's absolutely right. The Continental Congress, fresh off the Declaration of Independence in 1776, immediately recognized the pressing need for an official seal.
It wasn't just about looking good.
Right? No. This wasn't just about aesthetics. It was about symbolizing the sovereignty and unique identity of their new nation to the world. So they initially tasked a committee with some of the most esteemed minds of the era: Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, and John Adams.
Wow, the heavy hitters.
You got it. But even with that intellectual firepower, their proposed designs and those of two subsequent committees over the next 6 years, they simply couldn't gain congressional approval.
6 years. Just to pick a logo, basically.
Essentially, it truly was a protracted and surprisingly difficult dispute to settle on a single unifying symbol.
So, after all that deliberation back and forth, what or who finally broke the deadlock? How did the eagle specifically come to be the chosen emblem?
Well, the breakthrough finally came in mid-June of 1782. All the previous unapproved proposals were handed over to Charles Thomson.
Charles Thomson. Who was he?
He served as the influential and incredibly pragmatic Secretary of Congress at the time. And Thomson, in what proved to be a stroke of genius, he synthesized what he considered the best elements from all the various prior proposals.
Okay, pulling it all together.
Exactly. One particular design, which had been submitted by the Third Committee and crafted by a Pennsylvania lawyer and artist named William Barton, featured an eagle.
Ah, so the eagle was already in the mix.
It was. Thomson, recognizing the inherent power of the image. Eagles had long been symbols of strength and empire, going way back to the Roman legions. He decided to make it the central focus of the new seal.
And he didn't just settle for any old eagle, did he? That was the truly crucial part, the specific alteration that made it not just an emblem, but uniquely American.
Precisely. And this was Thomson's most critical and deliberate alteration. Barton's original design for the seal had featured a small, sort of generic white eagle.
All right.
Thomson, however, specifically recommended replacing that with the American bald eagle, Haliaeetus leucocephalus, a majestic species found almost exclusively right here in North America.
So it wasn't just aesthetics.
Not at all. This was far more than just an aesthetic tweak. It was a powerful, undeniable declaration of a distinct American identity, deliberately setting the new nation apart from the old European powers and their often generic, inherited emblems.
A statement.
It was a statement that America was forging its own path with its own unique symbols.
And it stuck. On June 20, 1782, Congress officially adopted that design.
Yep, that was a day.
The bald eagle, wings outstretched, grasping an olive branch, symbolizing peace in one talon,
And 13 arrows, representing war, in the other.
became the very heart of the nation's identity on the Great Seal. From that pivotal moment, its image became absolutely ubiquitous. You see it on the president's flag, on countless military insignias, and literally billions of $1 bills.
It's everywhere.
It truly became and remains the most pictured bird in America, making its way into the very fabric of daily life.
Can't argue with that.
Now, speaking of Benjamin Franklin, there's this popular legend, a fantastic story, that often gets told about him supposedly protesting the bald eagle selection.
Ah, yes, the turkey story.
The story goes that he wanted the wild turkey as our national bird instead. I've heard this many times. Is there any truth to it? Did he really stand up in Congress and publicly fight for the turkey?
You know, this raises an important question. Why does this myth persist so widely? It's certainly a compelling story, isn't it?
It is.
But the historical record tells a rather different tale about Franklin's actual influence on the emblem. The truth is much more nuanced than some big public battle. There is absolutely no evidence that Franklin ever made a formal proposal or engaged in a public protest to Congress regarding the choice of the bald eagle. None.
So it wasn't a public political battle at all?
Not in the slightest. His disdain, which was quite clear and certainly colorful, that was confined to private correspondence.
Ah, a letter.
Exactly. In a letter written to his daughter in 1784, and it's important to remember this was 2 years after the Great Seal had already been officially adopted.
Right after the fact.
Yes, he did indeed express his personal reservations about the choice. He famously wrote, and I quote, "I wish the bald eagle had not been chosen as the representative of our country. He is a bird of bad moral character."
Bad moral character, wow.
Yeah, he went on, "Like those among men who live by sharping and robbing, he is generally poor and often very lousy." He painted a rather unflattering picture of the eagle's scavenging habits, clearly not impressed by its methods of securing food.
And it was in that same letter that he went on to champion the turkey, right?
Precisely. In that very same private letter, he enthusiastically praised the wild turkey, calling it a much more respectable bird and withal a true, original native of America.
Okay, so he definitely preferred the turkey.
He did, personally.
Mm.
But it was a private critique, an after-the-fact musing, not a public political battle, and certainly not a formal protest to Congress.
Gotcha.
The majority of his contemporaries saw in the eagle what generations had recognized before, a powerful symbol of strength, courage, and freedom, now beautifully embodied in a uniquely American species. The myth, though entertaining and frequently retold, just doesn't align with the historical facts of the emblem's actual adoption.
Okay, that clears that up. But here's something else I found truly surprising. That for over 2 centuries, despite being our national emblem, universally recognized, honored, the bald eagle wasn't actually our official national bird.
Right. It's wild.
It's like having a team mascot everyone loves, but they never officially signed the contract or got the formal title. This is one of those peculiar facts that remain hidden in plain sight for generations. How did such a significant oversight happen, and why did it take so long to correct?
Well, what's fascinating here is that this 2024 designation isn't just about correcting a historical record. It carries a much deeper weight, acknowledging the bird's incredible journey from near extinction.
Right, that comeback story.
Exactly. For over 2 centuries, despite the bald eagle being the undisputed national emblem, appearing on countless official documents, it had never been legally designated as the official national bird of the United States.
Well, they had other official symbols.
Oh, yeah. We had an official mammal in the bison, an official tree in the oak, an official flower in the rose, but no official bird. It was a universal, yet technically incorrect, assumption that simply went unaddressed for, well, ages.
And who was it that finally discovered this odd little loophole and pushed for this overdue recognition? Someone must have noticed eventually.
That honor goes to Preston Cook, a dedicated Minnesota eagle enthusiast and author. Apparently, he was quite shocked to uncover this long-standing oversight.
An eagle enthusiast, perfect.
Right. His dedicated lobbying efforts were instrumental in spurring a bipartisan bill through Congress, and the legislation moved surprisingly swiftly through both chambers.
Oh, really? Bipartisan support for the eagle.
You bet. The Senate passed it by unanimous consent in July of 2024, and the House of Representatives followed suit with its approval in mid-December of that same year.
And then, just in time for the holidays and a truly symbolic moment.
Indeed. On December 24, 2024, President Joe Biden signed the bill into law, at long last giving Haliaeetus leucocephalus its rightful and official title as the national bird of the United States.
Finally.
But, like we said, this legislative act was far more than a simple correction of a historical technicality. It was really a symbolic culmination of one of the most dramatic conservation stories in the nation's history.
Because the bird chosen back in 1782, when it was abundant across the continent, was almost completely wiped out by the very nation it symbolized. It's hard to imagine, but the symbol of our nation was on the very edge of disappearing forever. The story of its decline is a stark reminder of our powerful and often unintended impact on the natural world.
You've hit on a crucial point there. When the bald eagle was chosen as the national emblem, estimates suggested populations as high as maybe 100,000 nesting pairs across North America.
Oh, 100,000!
Yeah, huge numbers. But by the late 19th and early 20th centuries, that reality had changed dramatically. First, due to widespread habitat destruction and relentless, unregulated hunting.
Okay, the usual suspects early on.
Right. But the situation became truly dire after World War II with the widespread use of the pesticide dichlorodiphenyl chloroethane, or DDT.
Ah, DDT, the big
A
one.
big one. This insidious chemical washed into rivers and lakes was absorbed by fish. Then, as eagles consumed contaminated fish, the toxin accumulated in their bodies, catastrophically disrupting their reproductive systems.
How exactly?
Well, the most devastating effect was eggshell thinning. The shells became so fragile that they would simply break under the weight of the incubating parent.
Oh, wow. So no new chicks could survive.
Basically, yeah, leading to near-total reproductive failure across the country. By 1963, the national population had plummeted to a grim low of only 417 nesting pairs in the entire continental United States.
417 pairs, down from maybe 100,000. That's staggering.
It's almost unimaginable.
Faced with the potential extinction of its own national symbol, what decisive actions did the country finally take? Something had to change.
Well, what's truly fascinating here is that the recovery wasn't just a national effort, but a very specific hands-on program right here in Arkansas showing remarkable results.
Oh, interesting.
The tide began to turn with landmark federal legislation. Congress had already passed the Bald Eagle Protection Act back in 1940, making it illegal to kill or possess the birds.
Okay, so some protection was there early.
Some, yes. But the crucial turning point came in 1972 with a nationwide ban on DDT.
That was huge.
That was the single most important action in saving the bald eagle from extinction, coupled with the powerful protections afforded by the Endangered Species Act, under which the eagle was listed in 1978.
Right, the ESA.
These measures created the essential conditions for a truly miraculous recovery. The population rebounded so successfully that the eagle's status was upgraded from endangered to threatened in 1995.
Getting better.
And it was eventually removed from the list entirely in 2007. A huge conservation success story.
That's incredible. And how did Arkansas specifically contribute to this amazing comeback? You mentioned local efforts.
Arkansas's comeback story has been nothing short of remarkable. The first major milestone occurred in 1983. That's when biologists discovered a single active bald eagle nest on the Dale Bumpers White River National Wildlife Refuge, the first confirmed nesting in the state in decades.
Wow, the first one in decades. That must have been exciting.
Huge news. This discovery was a powerful signal that recovery was indeed possible right here. So the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission, or AGFC, they launched a formal reintroduction program in 1982, actively working to rebuild the population.
How did they do that?
By translocating young eagles from healthy populations up in Minnesota and Wisconsin, bringing them down to Arkansas to establish new breeding territories.
And did those efforts actually pay off? It sounds like an enormous undertaking.
They exceeded all expectations. The original recovery goal set for Arkansas was pretty modest, just 10 breeding pairs.
Okay, starting small.
Right. But by 2007, the very year the bald eagle was officially removed from the federal list of endangered and threatened species, the state's population had blossomed to an estimated 100 breeding pairs.
From 0 documented nest to 100.
Pretty amazing. And today, Karen Rowe, who's the AGFC's non-game bird program coordinator, she estimates the number of nesting pairs is between 150 and 160 and likely even higher.
Why likely higher?
Well, because formal monitoring funds were wisely shifted to other species in greater need after the eagle's successful recovery. So the official counts might lag a bit behind the reality on the ground.
That makes sense. And nationally?
Nationally, the story is just as stunning. The population in the lower 48 states, which stood at that mere 417 nesting pairs in 1963, has quadrupled since 2009 alone and is now estimated to be over 316,700 individuals.
Just incredible. From 417 pairs to over 300,000
It's a
birds.
massive recovery.
So that official designation in 2024 truly is more than just a piece of paper or a historical footnote. It's a living testament.
It absolutely is. The official designation in 2024 carries a weight it never could have back in 1789. It's not merely an affirmation of an old symbol, but a profound national celebration of a hard-won recovery.
Yeah.
It stands as a powerful testament to what can be achieved when a nation collectively decides to value and protect its natural heritage. It effectively fulfills the trust articulated by President John F. Kennedy.
What did he say?
He eloquently wrote, "The Founding Fathers made an appropriate choice when they selected the bald eagle as the emblem of the nation. But as Latter-day citizens, we shall fail our trust if we permit the eagle to disappear."
Wow.
So the 2024 law, in this light, is a powerful declaration that the trust was not failed, but honored.
That's a great way to put it. But the challenges weren't over, were they? Just when things were truly looking up and the eagle population was starting to rebound, a new, completely invisible enemy emerged right here in Arkansas.
Unfortunately, yes.
It's a real-life medical mystery that highlights just how interconnected everything in an ecosystem truly is. Arkansas actually became the epicenter for this frightening and mysterious new threat in the 1990s.
That's right. During the winters of 1994-95 and again in 1996-97, an unprecedented number of bald eagles, 29, in the first winter alone, were found dead or dying at DeGray Lake near Arkadelphia.
And Gray Lake, okay, what was happening to them?
The birds were suffering from a debilitating neurological disease. It severely impaired their ability to fly, swim, and even walk. Just horrible symptoms.
Neurological, like something affecting their brains.
Exactly. And what was particularly alarming was that the very same symptoms were observed in American coots, which are a primary prey species for the eagles at that particular lake.
Ah, the food source. That immediately suggested a food chain connection, right?
It did. Big red flag.
So what did scientists call this mysterious illness, and how did they even begin to unravel such a complex puzzle?
The disease was eventually named avian vacuolar myelopathy, or AVM.
AZM, okay.
Yeah, because of the distinctive microscopic lesions, essentially tiny fluid-filled pockets or vacuoles, it created in the white matter of the bird's brains and spinal cords. Vacuoles, myelopathy, AVM.
Got it. And finding the cause.
That was the sharp part. For more than 25 years, the precise cause of AVM remained an unsolved mystery. State and federal agencies, including the AGSC, launched extensive, painstaking investigations. They tested for every known virus, bacterium, and toxin they could think of.
Yeah.
Consistently, all the tests came back negative. It was a scientific detective story that baffled researchers for decades.
25 years. That's incredible persistence. So after all that, how is this complex puzzle finally solved? Who cracked the case?
The puzzle was finally solved through the persistent and brilliant work of a team of researchers led by aquatic ecologist Dr. Susan B. Wild at the University of Georgia.
University of Georgia. Okay.
Their extensive investigation ultimately confirmed that AVM was caused by a potent neurotoxin, which they appropriately named etoxanotoxin.
Etoxan what now?
Etoxanotoxin. It's a Greek term that literally translates to poison that kills the eagle.
Fitting, sadly. Where did this toxin come from?
Well, this was the astonishing part. The source was a previously unknown species of cyanobacteria, or blue-green algae.
Okay, algae. We hear about harmful algal blooms sometimes.
Right, but this was different. Critically, this specific bacterium was found to grow almost exclusively on the leaves of a single host, Hydrilla verticillata.
Hydrilla.
Isn't that an invasive plant?
Exactly. A highly invasive, non-native aquatic plant that had infested DeGray Lake and other reservoirs in the southeast where AVM outbreaks occurred. So it was a chain reaction. The invasive plant, hosting this weird bacteria, which makes a toxin, moving stealthily through the food web.
You got it. It sounds like a perfect storm of an invasive plant, a hidden bacterium, and a susceptible food source.
How did the eagles get it?
The pathway became clear. Coots and other water birds consumed the toxin-laden hydrilla, ingesting the dangerous neurotoxin. Then the eagles were tragically poisoned when they preyed on these sickened coots,
Oh, man.
allowing the toxin to biomagnify up the food chain to lethal levels. It was a classic, devastating case of ecological transfer.
Wow. Just shows how a seemingly small interaction at the bottom can wreck things at the top.
Absolutely. It demonstrated how a seemingly small, isolated interaction at the base of a food web can have catastrophic consequences at the top.
And the solution, it turns out, wasn't a vaccine or a medicine, But an ecological fix that tackled the invasive plant itself? That's clever.
Precisely. The solution, it turned out, was ecological rather than medicinal, by introducing sterile grass carp.
Grass carp. They eat plants, right?
They do. Specifically, they eat hydrilla. But crucially, they don't transfer the toxin to predators. So managers were able to effectively eliminate the invasive plant from DeGray Lake using these sterile carp.
So get rid of the hydrilla.
And with the host plant gone, the toxic bacteria disappeared and the entire chain of poisoning was broken.
Amazing. And has AVM been seen since?
Arkansas has had no recorded cases of AVM since 2002. It was a hard-won victory, one that powerfully underscored the complex, often hidden, and unexpected threats facing wildlife in the modern era, and the ingenious solutions required to address them.
What a story. Okay, so you mentioned earlier that the eagle story runs parallel to the repopulation efforts for bears and deer in Arkansas.
Right.
And you asked about that specifically. It's a perfect comparison because it really helps us understand the different types of challenges wildlife conservation faces in a state like yours. The bald eagle's dramatic story of decline and recovery truly does not stand alone in Arkansas. It creates this powerful triptych of conservation in action alongside the histories of two of the state's most iconic mammals, the black bear and the white-tailed deer.
Indeed. The story of the black bear in Arkansas is a remarkable one. This state was once so famous for its Bruins that it was widely known as the Bear State.
The bear state? I didn't know that.
Yeah, with a pre-settlement population estimated to be as high as 50,000 animals.
50,000 bears.
Huge numbers. However, intense, unregulated hunting for meat, fat, and fur, combined with widespread habitat loss as forests were cleared for agriculture and development, led to their near-total destruction.
How bad did it get?
By the 1930s, it's believed fewer than 50 bears remained in the entire state, clinging to survival only in the dense bottomlands of the lower White River.
50. From 50,000 down to 50? That's
Yep.
almost gone.
Almost completely gone.
What about the white-tailed deer? These seem so common across the state now. Was it the same story?
The white-tailed deer followed a similar, though perhaps less dramatic, arc of decline. Once incredibly abundant, their numbers were decimated by rampant market hunting.
Market hunting. Just shooting them to sell.
Exactly. Hunted purely for commercial sale. That plus extensive habitat clearing. By the 1920s and 1930s, the statewide deer population had crashed to an estimated 500 animals or even fewer.
500 deer in the whole state.
Maybe even less. Finding a deer in Arkansas at that time was akin to finding a needle in a haystack.
Wow. So how did the state manage to bring these animals back from such critical lows? What were the key differences in approach for bears versus deer versus eagles?
Yeah, this raises that important question you asked.
Mhm.
What's the difference between repopulation and recovery
Yeah.
when we look at these three species?
Right.
The methods varied significantly based on the nature of the primary threat each species faced and the tools available at the time.
Okay, so bears first. How'd they come back?
For the black bear, the AGFC undertook what is now recognized as arguably the most successful reintroduction of a large carnivore in history.
High praise.
It really was.
Yeah.
Between 1958 and 1968, they meticulously captured and released 254 black bears from healthy, robust populations up in Minnesota and Manitoba, Canada.
From Canada. Wow.
Yep. Brought them down and released them directly into the suitable habitats of the Ozark and Ouachita Mountains.
And it worked.
It worked incredibly well. Today, the state's bear population is healthy and thriving, estimated at over 5,000 animals.
From 50 to over 5,000? That's fantastic.
Really remarkable.
And for the white-tailed deer, what was their path to recovery? Not importing them from Canada, I assume.
No, a bit different. For the white-tailed deer, the newly formed AGFC, established back in 1915, began the long road to recovery by implementing its first comprehensive game laws.
Ah, hunting regulations.
Exactly. Defining hunting seasons, setting bag limits. The restoration was a decades-long systematic effort involving the establishment of vast game refuges across the state and extensive restocking programs.
Restocking. Moving deer around within the state.
Yeah, where deer were trapped from areas with healthier populations and relocated to depleted areas. That intensive work paid off spectacularly.
How many now?
The state's deer herd is now estimated at nearly 1 million animals.
1 million. From maybe 500.
Yeah. And record harvests have become the norm, a stark contrast to the scarcity of the early 20th century. So these three parallel histories, deer, bear, and eagle, they reveal a clear and fascinating evolution in the science and philosophy of wildlife conservation in Arkansas.
How so?
Well, the effort to save the deer in the early 20th century was primarily an exercise in what we can game management, controlling the human element of hunting through laws and enforcement.
Right, stop people from shooting too many.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
The problem was relatively straightforward, and so were the solutions. Fewer hunters, more deer.
Okay, so if deer were about managing hunters, what about the bears? That sounds like a much bigger undertaking, bringing them from Canada.
It was. The bear restoration in the mid-20th century represented a more ambitious and biologically complex challenge. The species was not just depleted, but functionally gone from most of the state.
Right, only 50 left.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The solution required a massive international effort of trapping and translocation, literally moving animals across the continent to fill an empty ecological niche. This was a far more hands-on approach to wildlife management, actively resculpting the fauna landscape.
And the eagles, with their invisible chemical threats, DDT and then AVM, that was even more complex. That really sounds like a modern conservation challenge.
Precisely. The eagle's recovery in the late 20th century marked a significant shift to an even more complex modern form of conservation. The primary threat was not a hunter's bullet, but an invisible chemical poison, DDT, woven into the very fabric of the food web.
Right.
The solution could not be found in game laws alone. It required national policy change, a sweeping ban on a widely used chemical, and a deep understanding of toxicology and ecosystem-level effects.
And then the AVM crisis.
Right. That further highlighted this new reality, where the survival of the nation's most powerful raptor depended on understanding the intricate relationships between an invasive weed, a microscopic bacterium, and a migratory water bird. Just layers upon layers of complexity.
So what does this all mean for you listening in Ashley County? It means you're living in a state that has truly mastered the art of wildlife conservation, showing just how adaptable and innovative these efforts have become, continually responding to new and evolving threats.
Absolutely. The journey from simply managing hunters to scientifically managing entire ecosystems shows how profoundly the challenges and the sophisticated tools developed to meet them have evolved over the last century. It's a powerful testament to sustained effort, cutting-edge scientific understanding, and a collective commitment to valuing natural heritage.
Okay, so we've covered the national picture, the state-level recovery. Let's zoom in on Ashley County itself. While the national and statewide stories provide crucial context, the eagle's presence is most tangible at the local level, right? For residents of Ashley County, the story comes alive in the sprawling wetlands of the Felsenthal National Wildlife Refuge. If you're wondering where to see them, this is truly your starting point.
It really is.
It's like the Eagles five-star resort right in your backyard, teeming with life.
Huh? That's a good way to put it. And what's fascinating here is how these vast, protected areas like Felsenthal act as true strongholds, not just for visiting eagles passing through, but for permanent nesting residents.
Okay, tell us about Felsenthal.
Well, the Felsenthal National Wildlife Refuge, it's located just 8 miles west of Crossett and spans parts of Ashley, Bradley, and Union counties. It's truly the ecological heart of the region and a prime habitat for eagles.
How big is it?
It's vast. Established in 1975, this 65,000-acre refuge is a rich mosaic of bottomland hardwood forests, upland pine communities, and a complex, winding network of waterways, all centered on the vital confluence of the Saline and Ouachita rivers.
And its location is just perfect for eagles, isn't it? It sounds like an ideal spot based on what eagles need.
Absolutely. Felsenthal's importance to eagles cannot be overstated. The refuge is strategically located directly within the Mississippi Flyway.
The flyway, that's like a bird highway.
Essentially, yes. A veritable highway in the sky, used by hundreds of migratory bird species traveling between their northern breeding grounds and southern wintering areas. This makes the refuge a critical stopover and wintering ground for bald eagles for two primary interconnected reasons.
Okay, reason number one. I'm guessing food.
You nailed it. First, the food, the sheer abundance of it in those wetlands. The refuge provides an absolutely massive and reliable food supply.
How massive?
Well, it's expansive wetlands, and the Felsenthal Pool, which can swell dramatically from 15,000 to over 36,000 acres in the winter, hosts enormous concentrations of wintering waterfowl.
Ducks and geese.
Millions of them. In some years, between 100,000 and 300,000 ducks and geese congregate here. These birds are a major readily available food source for migrating eagles.
Okay, waterfowl. What else?
In addition, the refuge's intricate network of rivers, sloughs, and lakes are incredibly rich, with fish species like largemouth bass and bluegill, which are the bald eagle's preferred prey, easily snatched from the water surface.
So a giant buffet.
Pretty much.
And you said there were two reasons. It's not just a seasonal stop for hungry visitors, but a year-round home for some eagles, right?
That's the second crucial reason. Felsenthal is more than just a winter resort for visiting eagles. It supports a year-round population.
How do we know that?
The official species list for the refuge notes that bald eagles, along with ospreys and various woodpeckers, can be seen throughout the entire year. This indicates that the refuge supports a resident nesting population in addition to the influx of winter migrants.
And the refuge actively protects them.
Yes, the protection of the bald eagle is, in fact, one of the refuge's explicit official management objectives, underscoring its deep commitment to the species' long-term health and stability.
Is there other evidence nearby, like closer to Courtship?
There is. Direct evidence further confirms the eagle's presence in the immediate vicinity of Courtship. A photographic database maintained by the USDA Forest Service explicitly records adult and immature bald eagles at the Courtship Experimental Forest, which is a research area located within the broader Ashley County ecosystem.
Okay, so they're definitely there, year-round residents and winter visitors, thriving thanks to places like Felsenthal.
Correct. Ashley County offers a front-row seat to this recovery, providing crucial wintering and nesting habitat.
For those eager to spot these magnificent birds in Ashley County, perhaps for the first time or with new, knowing eyes, what are the best viewing opportunities and tips you can offer?
Okay, good question. The best time to experience the sheer numbers of eagles is definitely during the winter months, from December through February. That's when populations peak due to the influx of northern migrants.
Makes sense. Where should people go?
Prime locations within Ashley County include Felsenthal National Wildlife Refuge itself, particularly around its headquarters, on its driving tours, and from its observation platforms. It's truly world famous for its winter eagle concentrations.
Anywhere else?
Yeah. Also keep a keen eye on the Ouachita River, especially near Felsenthal, and maybe surprisingly, large catfish ponds. Eagles are intelligent opportunists and learn to exploit these reliable food sources.
Oh, smart birds.
They are.
Yeah.
Also, Bayou Bartholomew, particularly its forested stretches, can also be productive.
Any tips for actually spotting them?
Our tips for viewing are simple. Always bring binoculars or a spotting scope for the best views. Observe from a respectful distance to avoid disturbing the birds. Be quiet and patient. And most importantly, never ever approach a nest. Disturbing nesting eagles can cause them to abandon their young, which would be tragic.
Good advice. Okay, let's shift gears a bit to the cultural side. It strikes me as quite ironic that Courtship High School's mascot is the eagle, especially given that the local bald eagle population was so low, perhaps even non-existent, when the school was founded.
Right, the timing is interesting.
It's no coincidence, I guess, that the school, with its maroon and white colors and its rallying cry of "Eagles fly high," is deeply tied to this powerful symbol. How do you explain that choice, given the local scarcity back then?
Well, this raises that important question about how powerful symbols can transcend immediate reality, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The Courtship eagle was a potent idea and a meaningful emblem long before the physical bird truly returned in numbers to the skies above the town.
So tell me about Courtship's founding.
Courtship was founded in 1899 as a classic company town built from the ground up by the Courtship Lumber Company to support its massive sawmilling operations. The high school was established soon after, with its founding dating to as early as 1902 and its accreditation to 1924.
Okay, early 20th century.
Right. And crucially, during this period, when the school would have been choosing its identity and mascot, the local bald eagle population was indeed at its lowest point, nearing complete extirpation from the state. You would have been incredibly lucky to see one locally.
So the choice of the eagle mascot wasn't about seeing them daily, but about what the bird represented nationally, that national symbolism we talked about earlier.
Exactly. The choice of the eagle, therefore, was almost certainly symbolic, reflecting broader national aspirations. In an era of burgeoning American industrial might, patriotism, and national pride, schools and teams across the country adopted mascots that projected strength, tenacity, and regional identity.
Can you give some other Arkansas examples?
Sure. You see examples across Arkansas. The University of Arkansas became the Razorbacks after their coach famously praised the team for playing like a wild band of Razorback hogs. Southern Arkansas University became the Mulleriders, a nod to the rugged, reliable animal essential to Southern agriculture and timber. Even the University of Arkansas at Monticello became the boll weevils, embracing the identity of a small but fiercely tenacious agricultural pest that farmers both respected and feared.
The boll weevils. Okay, I see the pattern. Strength, ruggedness, local ties.
Right.
So for a town like Courtship, Built on industry and embodying progress, the eagle must have been a perfect fit for that national narrative of strength and freedom.
It was an absolutely natural fit. For Crossett, a town forged by industry and embodying the ideals of progress, development, and resilience, adopting the nation's most powerful and recognized emblem was a deeply resonant choice.
Makes sense.
The bald eagle was and remains the ultimate symbol of strength, freedom, and patriotism. By becoming the Crossett Eagles, the school and the community were aligning their identity not with a local animal, which was largely absent then, but with the aspirational power and enduring values of the nation itself.
And the Eagles' connection to Ashley County isn't just about a high school team. It runs even deeper into the county's history, doesn't it? Appearing in print, even.
Indeed it does. The symbolic power of the eagle in Ashley County predates even the founding of Crossett.
How so?
The weekly newspaper serving the county seat of Hamburg, which operated from 1889 to 1920, was named the Ashley County Eagle.
The Ashley County Eagle. Okay. Did it talk about eagles?
Well, surviving excerpts of the paper focus mostly on day-to-day news and genealogical records. They don't appear to contain articles specifically about the bird itself, unfortunately.
But the name itself is significant.
Highly significant. The fact that the county's primary source of news and information was named for the eagle a full decade before the Crossett Lumber Company even began its operations demonstrates a deep-seated, pre-existing cultural affinity for the bird.
So it wasn't just Crossett High.
No. It shows that long before it became a mascot, the eagle was already a symbol of pride and identity for the people of Ashley County, recognized for its inherent majesty and significance.
Fascinating. Okay, let's address that other query you brought up, the one about Native American history. You asked about Big Mine Ridge and a possible Dalton-era connection to eagles.
Right, the Big Mine Ridge question.
That's a fantastic question because it taps into the deep, deep history of this land and the ancient peoples who lived here. But your query points to an intriguing but ultimately incorrect timeline for that specific site, correct?
That's right. The site you're likely referring to in the context of the Dalton era is actually known as the Sloan site. And Big Mound Ridge is a different site from a later period, relevant to Ashley County, but not Dalton.
Ah, okay. So Sloan site is the Dalton one. Tell us about that.
Well, what's fascinating here is that while the Big Mound Ridge reference points to a later period for Ashley County, the Dalton era itself does have a remarkable archaeological story in Arkansas, even if not directly linked to eagles at that specific site.
Okay.
The Sloan site is an archaeological treasure of global importance, located up in Greene County in northeastern Arkansas.
Not Ashley County, then.
No, Greene County. And this site isn't a mound, as the Big Mound Ridge name might suggest, but rather a low sand dune that served as the oldest known formal cemetery in the Western Hemisphere.
Oldest cemetery in the Americas. Wow, how old?
It dates precisely to the Dalton period. That was a transitional time at the very end of the last ice age, approximately 10,500 years ago, around 8,500 BC.
10,000 years ago. Incredible. So what did archaeologists find at this incredibly ancient Sloan site, and why is it so important for understanding these early peoples?
Excavations at the Sloan site back in 1974, led by the Arkansas Archaeological Survey, uncovered a truly remarkable collection of artifacts buried with the remains of at least 28 to 30 individuals.
What kind of artifacts?
The graves contain clusters of exquisitely crafted stone tools, including the distinctive fluted Dalton points, named for this very period, which were used for hunting large game. They also found woodworking adzes and exceptionally large, finely made ceremonial blades known as Sloan bifaces.
Sloan bifaces? Ceremonial?
Yeah, they may have served as symbols of status or group identity for these ancient hunter-gatherers. Really beautiful craftsmanship.
Okay, but what about eagles? Was there any eagle stuff found there?
And this is the important part for your specific query. A thorough review of the archaeological findings from the Sloan site reveals no evidence whatsoever of eagle remains, eagle bones, or any artifacts suggesting specific avian symbolism.
None at all.
Nope. The ceremonialism of these ancient Dalton people, at least as preserved in the archaeological record at this particular site, appears to be centered on the ritual placement of valuable and beautifully crafted stone tools with their deceased, not eagles. Okay, so while the specific Dalton connection you asked about isn't supported by evidence for that particular site, a much more direct and locally relevant spiritual history of the eagle does exist with the Caddo people.
Ah, the Caddo. They were definitely in southeast Arkansas, right?
Absolutely. The Caddos are a Native American nation with a confirmed long-term historical and archaeological presence throughout southeast Arkansas, as well as parts of Louisiana, Texas, and Oklahoma.
And in Ashley County specifically.
Yes. In fact, The Felsenthal National Wildlife Refuge in Ashley County itself was established on land that contains over 200 protected Native American archaeological sites, and the vast majority of those are of Caddo origin. It underscores their profound connection to this landscape.
So unlike the Dalton culture at the Sloan site, the Caddo definitely had a deep, documented connection to eagles here in this region. They left proof.
Absolutely. The Caddo left behind definitive and compelling proof of their deep reverence for the eagle. Archaeological excavations at major Caddo sites in the four-state region have uncovered clear and unmistakable evidence of ceremonial eagle burials.
Eagle burials, like they buried eagles intentionally.
Yes. These findings strongly indicate that eagles held a profoundly sacred place in Caddo society and were specifically not hunted for food. Instead, their presence in burials indicates spiritual significance.
Can you give us some specific examples of what archaeologists found that points to this sacred connection that really brings the history to life?
Certainly. At the Hatchell site, a major Caddo mound center over in East Texas, archaeologists discovered the complete, carefully folded remains of an adult male bald eagle, buried in a small pit within the main platform mound, dating to the 16th century.
Carefully folded.
Wow.
Not just tossed in.
No, clearly intentional, respectful placement. Then, at the Cedar Grove site on the Red River in southwest Arkansas, a late 17th to early 18th century Caddo cemetery, one human burial actually included a mostly complete bald eagle buried with a person.
An eagle buried with a person.
Yes, and another burial at the same site contained a fragment of an eagle's humerus bone, suggesting even small parts held significance.
And any golden eagle evidence?
Yes, actually. At the Belcher Mound site in northwest Louisiana, the articulated skeleton of a golden eagle was discovered on the floor of a house structure dating to between AD 1200 and 1500. So the context of these discoveries is critical, isn't it? They're not just finding random bones. The eagle remains are found exclusively in sacred contexts, within mounds, in ceremonial pits, or as offerings in human burials, never mixed with common food waste, like deer or fish bones would be.
That distinction is key.
It leads archaeologists to conclude that for the Caddo, eagles were sacra, sacred objects or beings reserved for the most important religious and ritual ceremonies, likely handled only by the highest-ranking religious and political elites, such as the Senesi, their spiritual leaders, and Caddi, their chieftains.
So this raises that important question. What's the difference between merely observing a natural presence and embodying a profound cultural reverence?
Exactly. The Caddo show us a deep spiritual connection that goes far beyond just seeing the bird in their environment. It was about a spiritual relationship.
It's truly incredible how these ancient cultures from across the continent all recognize something uniquely powerful and sacred in the eagle. It feels like a universal language of respect and awe that transcends different traditions.
Indeed. The Caddo's reverence for the eagle is part of a broad and profound spiritual tradition shared by nearly every Native American culture across the continent. The eagle was universally seen as a being of immense power and spiritual significance.
Why? What was it about the eagle?
Well, because it soars higher than any other bird, closest to the sun and the vastness of the sky, the eagle was widely believed to be the creature closest to the Creator.
A messenger.
A vital messenger, yes, carrying the prayers and messages of humankind from the physical world up to the spiritual realm. Seeing an eagle, especially during a ceremony, was often taken as a powerful sign that prayers had been heard and accepted by the Great Spirit.
So it wasn't just about messages, but power and virtue, too. It embodied strength and courage, right?
Absolutely. The eagle embodies a host of virtues: strength, courage, wisdom, and leadership. Its feathers were not mere decorations, but profound symbols of honor.
Like in headdresses.
Exactly. Often awarded to warriors for great acts of bravery and worn with immense pride and dignity in elaborate headdresses. An eagle feather held aloft was considered a conduit for strength and a powerful tool for speaking honestly from the heart.
And the black and white tail feathers. Any symbolism there?
Yes. In the striking tail feathers of the bald eagle, with their clear division of light and dark, many tribes saw a symbol of the essential duality of life: light and darkness, male and female, peace and war, life and death. The eagle, in its very being, represented the balance necessary to maintain harmony in the world.
And even a symbol of peace. That's a beautiful thought for such a powerful bird.
Yes, a truly beautiful and often overlooked aspect. In some traditions, particularly among Northwest Coast tribes, the soft, downy feathers of an eagle were delicately scattered at the entrance to a village or during ceremonies as a welcoming gesture of peace and hospitality for important visitors.
Amazing. So, going back to the listener's original query about a deep historical connection to eagles, while factually misplaced in its specifics regarding the Dalton period at that particular site, the core intuition was right.
Absolutely correct in its core intuition. The spiritual bond between humans and eagles on the very land of Ashley County is indeed ancient and profound.
So it doesn't trace back 10,500 years to the Dalton people?
No, but it is firmly rooted in the centuries-long history of the Caddo, the indigenous ancestors who lived, farmed, built communities, and conducted their most sacred ceremonies on the very same riverbanks and forested ridges that residents call home today.
So the story shifts from a speculative link to a confirmed and deeply localized spiritual heritage.
Exactly, a powerful echo across time right there in Ashley County.
Wow, we've covered so much ground. From the national seal debates to DDT, AVM mysteries, bear reintroductions, Felsenthal, Crosset High, and ancient Caddo rituals.
It's a lot. The eagle soaring over Ashley County today is truly a creature of many layers. Every sighting offers a rich and meaningful experience, tying together natural history, national identity, and profound cultural memory.
Yeah.
This bird, soaring high above the Ouachita River or Felsenthal wetlands, is far more than just a magnificent raptor. It's a living nexus of natural history, national identity, and deep cultural memory.
A nexus. I like that.
Its story, woven through the pines and waterways of southern Arkansas, is a microcosm of the American experience itself. It is, first and foremost, a wild predator, a marvel of biological adaptation.
Right. Tied to the seasons, the fish, the waterfowl.
Exactly. The bald eagle's life is governed by the seasons and the landscape. Its diet dictated by the fish in the Ouachita River and the waterfowl flocking to Felsenthal. Its nesting cycle timed by the southern sun to protect its young from the summer heat. It is a testament to the resilience of nature, a species that survives and thrives according to ancient rhythms that predate human history.
And it's truly a potent national symbol whose meaning has been forged and reforged over nearly 250 years, chosen in 1782 as an emblem of a young republic's strength and freedom. Then tragically driven to the edge of oblivion by that same nation's industrial progress and chemical use, only to be pulled back from the brink by a collective act of conservation will.
That comeback is key.
Its spectacular recovery, celebrated with its official designation as the national bird just recently in 2024, transforms it from a simple icon into a powerful story of redemption and a living symbol of hope for the future of wildlife.
And in Ashley County specifically, this national symbol takes on a distinctly local flavor. It is the proud mascot of Crosset High School, a choice made in the early 20th century that aligned a burgeoning industrial town with the power and prestige of the nation.
And the newspaper name, too.
And the namesake of the county's historic newspaper, the Ashley County Eagle, a testament to a long-standing cultural affinity that predates the town of Crosset itself.
And the eagle story runs parallel to that of the deer and the bear, forming that powerful narrative of Arkansas's own conservation journey.
Right. Charting the evolution of wildlife management, from simple game laws to complex ecosystem-level interventions, demonstrating a growing understanding of our interconnectedness with the natural world and the ingenuity required to protect it.
And finally,
And perhaps most profoundly, the eagle is a living link to the land's most ancient human history. While not connected to the Ice Age Dalton people in the way your initial question suggested, its spirit is deeply entwined with the Caddo.
the indigenous nation that called the lands of Ashley County home.
Sacred bird, we see a reverence that transcends time, a recognition of the eagle as a messenger to the Creator, a being of immense spiritual power, and a crucial element in maintaining balance within their world.
So the next time you look up and see an eagle circling high above Ashley County, what will you see? Will you just see a bird, or will you see a living symbol of a nation's journey, a testament to ancient beliefs, and a beacon of hope for conservation?
Perhaps it's an invitation to consider how many other stories, both natural and cultural, are waiting to be uncovered in the familiar landscapes around us, if we only take the time to truly deep dive and look closer.
If you're inspired to do your own eagle watching, remember the best time is during the winter months, from December through February, when the northern migrants swell the local population.
Felsenthal National Wildlife Refuge is your prime location in Ashley County, but keep an eye on the Ouachita River and large catfish ponds too. And bring your binoculars or a spotting scope.
Definitely need those. And if you happen to discover an active eagle nest, you can contribute to ongoing conservation efforts.
That's right. Just email the exact GPS coordinates and any observations to the AGFC's non-game bird program coordinator, Karen Rowe, at karen.rowe@agfc.ar.gov.
Karen.rowe@agfc.ar.gov.
Yep. It's a vital information for tracking the continued success of the bald eagle in the natural state.